Hey, it's me, MLB. Here's That Side Character, Chapter 47, and this one is titled Surprise at the Game. You sighed and Kenma let you go, and then took your hand. We'll come back tomorrow, he said as he took you back to the shelter to give the cat food back and get your bags, and then he walked you home and went to his place. The next morning you were up at his front door, knocking loudly for him to let you in. Hey, you greeted him brightly upon entering. So, during lunch and stuff today, I'm going to see if I can find Kenma. Are you going to come with me? I don't have a choice, Kenma replied with a low-key, unhappy look on his face. Okay, good, because I just know we'll find him today. You didn't find Kenma that day, nor the next day, nor for the rest of that week and over the weekend. He had gone. He hadn't even gone back to Rita and Gerald's place. You were starting to worry about him now. Kozu? You asked Kenma as you lay on his bed one afternoon after school. Do you think Kenma is still alive? I don't know, he replied, a little too bluntly as he tapped away on his game. You sighed, and Kenma finished the level and put his PSP down for a second to cuddle you, lying his head down on your chest while you wrapped an arm around the crown of his head and just held him. I just wish that I'd say goodbye, you said sadly, your voice quivering a little. I was so upset when they took him, I didn't even get to say goodbye. He was probably wondering where I was. Kenma just lay on your chest and let you talk it all out while crying. He wasn't good at saying the right things at the right time, but he had learned that with you, silence was a perfect response. Should I write Kenma a letter? You asked your boyfriend, sniffing lightly to suck the snot back up your nose so it wouldn't dribble down your face. Now, the second that you said it, you thought he was going to laugh or ridicule you, but surprisingly, or not surprisingly, he didn't. In fact, he encouraged it. Yeah, do it, he said calmly. Really? You really think I should? You asked, letting his head go so he could lift it and look at you. Yes, he said honestly. Oh, okay. What do I write? You asked yourself out loud as you sat up and he sat back. Kenma was smart. He knew that if he gave you a task, then you'd do it. So while you were finding a pen and paper to write your letter to Kenma the cat, he could get back to his game. A comfortable silence fell in the room as he traversed to the next level in his game, and you wrote furiously onto a piece of paper that you'd found, pouring your heart out in the letter to Kitty Kenma. Wait, how's he going to read this? You suddenly asked as you were wrapping up the letter. You looked at Kenma, and he looked at you. You had kept the letter for Kenma safe with you while you could figure out what to do with it, but in the meantime Kenma's volleyball game was coming up, and you were prepared to watch him verse another team. You had heard of them through Kenma. He referred to them as the Crows, but they were better known as Karasuno. The stadium was alive with people as you walked in that Sunday afternoon. So many different types of people had come to watch. Even some young families were in the stands. Oh, I wonder if they're here to cheer their older brother on, you thought as you watched two smaller children point excitedly to the top rail, asking if they could be lifted up to see over the top to the players down on the other side. You moved closer to the rail so you could see over as well and spotted Kenma sitting against the back wall with his PSP in hand. Kozu! You called happily, waving as he looked up. He gave you a small smile and then put his PSP away so that he could join the rest of his team and warm up. Kuro seemed as confident as ever, and all the boys looked ready to go. Your eyes were drawn to the door as Karasuno entered, and you noted that the team looked intense, except for a shorter guy with orange hair that seemed to be the life of the party. He was jumping all over the place, and you couldn't help but feel drawn to him. He seems nice, you thought. Kenma too seemed to be drawn to this bundle of energy, and you saw him give the Orangette a small wave of greeting when the pair locked eyes. Kenma! The Orangette called out. Oh, okay, so they know each other? That's cool, you thought with a smile, happy that Kenma knew somebody else there aside from his own team. Both teams warmed up and then the game started. As usual, you had no idea what was going on, but the points on the Nekoma side of the net were going up faster than the Karasuno side, so that was a good thing, right? You were more interested in what Kenma was doing anyway. He was the only reason you were there. He didn't disappoint. It was just the way he knew the gameplay. He really was amazing. At halftime you went down to talk to him, but they didn't let anyone onto the court, so you just stood there and smiled at him. He gave you a small wave before going back onto the court, and you raced back upstairs to watch him for the second half. The second half of the game went much the same as the first, and before you knew it the game was over, and you could go and give him a hug. You were pretty set on getting down to him as quickly as possible, but when you heard a small child telling his mummy that there was a cat stuck in the tree outside, your attention wavered. Initially you ran past the child, and then quickly doubled back and crouched down beside him. Hi, did you say there's a cat stuck in the tree outside? Uh-huh, he said with an exuberant head nod. It got stuck up there and can't come down. Oh, don't worry, I'm a cat expert, you said with a firm head nod. I'll go and see if I can help the kitty. The small child smiled brightly as he stood up and ran in the opposite direction of the courts, heading for the doors of the stadium. I think you all know who the cat is stuck in the tree. I'll see you for chapter 48 tomorrow.